Thousands of years ago, long before words were carved onto stone or inked onto papyrus, our ancestors gathered around the fire. They didn't have spreadsheets, they didn't have lesson plans, they didn't have learning objectives. What they had was story. You see, to a hunter-gatherer, a story wasn't just information. It was survival, a map, a warning, a guide. You didn't just hear that the river was dangerous. You heard the story of the flood that reshaped the land and the people who didn't make it back. And here's the key. We are all biological descendants of these storytellers. Our brains are not wired for cold data. They are wired for narrative. Now, walk into a modern day classroom. That fire is burning out. In its place, we got the hum of fluorescent lights, rows of desks, slides on a screen, objectives written neatly on the board. Somewhere along the way, education became industrialized, standardized, optimized. And in that process, something shifted. We stopped seeing students as humans to inspire and started to treat them like vessels to fill. But it's not just in the classroom, it's the world we live in. We scroll and scroll from science to sports to history to something completely random, all in a matter of seconds. It's like we're running a constant scrolling marathon, going from one topic to the other without ever really stopping. We are surrounded by information, constantly, endlessly. Access to information is not the issue anymore, it's what stays. If we are just delivering information, then we are competing with a search engine and we are losing. I remember when I was younger, my grandfather and I were sitting outside on the veranda, warm summer night, clear sky, and we were gazing upon the stars. My grandfather pointed at the sky. He didn't give me a diagram, he didn't list facts, he told me a story. He told me how travelers used to use the stars to guide themselves, and that if you find Polaris, you can always find North. And I remember standing there looking up and realizing that the sky wasn't just something above me, it was a map. And until this day, I still remember it, not because I memorized it, but because I felt it. Making these meaningful connections is what educators should strive for. The difference between a good educator and a great one isn't how much content they can cover. It's about the quality of connections they create. You give a student a list of facts, and the brain has to work to memorize it. But if you tell them a story behind those facts, something incredible happens. The brain begins to synchronize with the speaker. This is called neural coupling, when the listener's brain mirrors the storyteller's. We're not giving out information, we're creating an experience. So, what does it look like in practice? Most of us know that a marathon is 26.2 miles. But have you ever stopped and asked yourselves why? In 490 BC, at the Battle of Marathon, a messenger called Phidippides was sent from the battlefield to Athens to deliver an important message. He began his run with no GPS tracking him, no shoes made for comfort, no medal waiting at the finish line. His lungs were burning, every breath a struggle against the heat and dust. But he had urgency, he had a purpose, he had a message that needed to be delivered. We have won. And then he collapsed and died. Or did he? You can either give a student a number, 26.2, or you can tell them that story. Which one do you think they will remember? Did an apple really fall on Sir Isaac Newton's head? In the Apollo mission, did someone really call out, Houston, we have a problem? Did Pheidippides actually collapse and died at the end of his run? These stories have a foundation in reality, but over time they are shaped, simplified, and sometimes exaggerated. And that's not a weakness, that's the power. Because these stories spark curiosity, they make you want to go back and find out more, like hooks that catch your attention. Because data asks the brain to memorize, but a story asks the brain to feel. When you heard Pheidippides' lungs burning, your brain didn't just register a number. It felt the exhaustion. It heard the heartbeat. It imagined the struggle. And that's the beauty of a story. The emotion. Emotion is like an anchor. Without it, information just drifts away. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's the challenge. Reclaim that fire. Our children, our students, the people we're trying to reach, they've already seen everything. They scrolled past it, watched it, skipped it. Our job isn't to make sure they've seen everything. It's to make sure they leave the room seeing differently. We are not just educators. We are storytellers. So give them the drama. Give them the emotion. Give them something that stays. Because long after the exam is over, long after the lesson is finished, they won't remember your slides, but they will remember the stories that changed how they see the world. Thank you.